All right. Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachah Kwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to all you Akim out there who pushing this word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as to all you believers out there who believe in on the gospel. And it's the brother Quara Abad from the GMS Houston camp. And I want to go into another lesson that Lord willing to be edifying. And kind of what I was meditating on, watching a couple videos from the Apostle Tahar, him touching on, the Ron Dalton and Bishop Nate situation, when Ron Dalton called in to a show that Bishop Nate was on, and pretty much had him nervous, had him shook up. Bishop Nate was running to him. Not saying he was running, but his questioning, he was all over the place. I mean, his answers was all over the place, And he even said, Ryan Dalton asked him, well, if Esau, the so-called white man, and the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in Central, North Central, and South America, if these are the descendants of Abraham? And Bishop Nate pretty much said no, which I know he know that's true because we do come from Abraham, even Esau, because we both come from Isaac. But the thing was, just to show how he was kind of nervous, he was like, no, right? But the thing is, just watching that, and I seen the Apostle Tahar video today, Vocab Malone and Ryan Dalton had a conversation about the little short, I guess you could say back and forth, because it wasn't really a debate. But Vocab Malone and Ryan Dalton had a talk about it, and they pretty much, he running, he's scared. He Vocab all excited, Nate couldn't answer the question, and so on and so forth. And it's like, one, and now Ryan Dalton think he's just that nigga. Right? Now he think he just like he that. Talking about, I'm calling out all the leaders. They say they got the truth. Well, I'm calling them out. They scared. And that's the part that got to me. You see? That's the part that pissed me off, because one, Ryan Dalton don't know nothing. Even his questions, because Vocab Malone was like, what other questions would you ask him if you was to debate with him? He was like, I want to know who the sons of Japhet then. Which, one, Japhet is not prominent in end-time prophecy. So at the end of the day, why would that matter? Two, here, and the second one, he'll say things like, I want to know who the people, just random things that really don't matter to end-time prophecy or things that's about to happen. Like the point is that the Lord have given us this truth, man, the Rachah Kwadash, to go out and push into the world. And like I said in Hebrews chapter 4, this word is powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit. As we go out and push the 100% true doctrine, nobody should be able to say nothing against it, man. And that's one thing that kind of, when you look out into the world of Israel, a lot of these other camps, they always the ones who got the scoffers coming up. They always the ones who got the, certain people coming up to question them. Ron Dalton we don't do call-ins, but, certain people, scholars walking up to their camps. And I'd be like, man, why they don't be coming up to the, to Great Millstone camps? Because, and the reason I say this is because the doctrine that the apostles and elders of Great Millstone teach, it covers everything, and you can't get around that, man. You cannot get around that. When you get book, chapter, and verse, whether it's history, because what the apostles taught us, it lined up with secular history. The things that's happening now, for example, Habakkuk 2 is speaking, the MOTB, can't get around that, missiles being shot off. Even Ryan Dalton, he don't believe in chariots. Well, what about the prophecies? Let's go into the prophecies. He want to go into proving that the so-called white man is Japhet, but it was never said that Japhet was going to rule the world at the end and bring all this havoc in the world and be the last oppressor of the Israelites. And if Esau is Japhet, then who is Edom, and who will be the last ruler when the Lord come back? Let's go into them prophecies. See, when you hit prophecy, nobody can get around it. I want to do a quick lesson on that. Let me get my first precept. And we should have a confidence, man. The Lord gave, let me get this real quick, in Revelation 14. The Lord gave a specific amount of men from the nation of Israel the spirit to go out and push this gospel. You see? So if a man not a part of that number, which we don't know, but again, what we teaching, And also, you got to throw this into that shit, the actions, the fruit. But more so, let me read this real quick. Revelation 14. This shouldn't be a long lesson, right? Revelation 14. And I'm going to start at 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, Yahushua, and 144,000, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. These the 144,000 prophets from the nation of Israel. Now, as we would know it right now, we don't know how many in the heavens already that was martyrs, or they time passed of prophesying on earth, and they go come back and get beamed up first by the Lord. And we don't know how many here in the earth as we speak. You see? The point is, the Lord have 144,000 prophets. Now let's read this. It says, and I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of great thunder, and I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. Here it is. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. See, the Lord put a certain spirit on these men to, when they was sent down to the earth, they was going to be the ones, the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets. They was going to be the ones to rise up and push this doctrine. Nobody was going to have that authority but these 144,000 men. So if we proclaim ourselves to be these men, how could you get confounded? If you got the true doctrine that the Lord sent down on earth, how could you get confounded? Even when you look at Yahushua. When the wicked scribes and Pharisees tried to come to him, trip him up, it was no way they can get it. He ain't had no holes in his armor. He was always tripping them up. They was always nervous, nervous, and it reminded me of Bishop Nate because he was nervous a little bit, right? We be looking for questions. Matter of fact, Elder Tazapah, he told us, we switched our Tuesday camp spot up. He was like, it's a little more traffic, maybe somebody come up, we get a little sparring session in, pretty much, roughly paraphrasing what he said. But yeah, we welcome questions. If, of course, depending on how they come, if it's a Christian, a bugged out Christian, come with bullhorns and nonsense, look, we going to call the police on you. You're doing too much now. Right? But if somebody come respectful and truly have questions, man, we ready, willing and ready to go to defend the gospel. That's what we ready to do. Because we know nobody can get around the things that we are saying. Matter of fact, let me get this real quick. I want to start there. That there's 144,000 prophets. Right? But let me get this, because this is what it reminded me of, what the Lord told Jeremiah. And I'll probably get one more after this. This Jeremiah chapter 1, and I say this before I lose my train of thought, and I get this precept. But for example, say a vocab Malone's to walk up and he want to debate, is all people going to be saved? If the Lord come and save Gentiles and Israelites? Yeah, we can go to a little back and forth and have fun for the camera, for the entertainment of it, right? Like I could pull one that say, Yahushua said, Matthew 15:24, he only came to the lost sheep. And he can get one, well, Apostle Paul said the Gentile, nor Jew nor Greek right here. And I could get one and make it cool and make it fun, right? All right, well, let's get Romans 9. Right? And he can get one, something Galatians says that he come for all and die for all. But if we want to just cut it short and really just get to the point, let's go into prophecy. If everybody could be saved, then why these prophecies of the future kingdom? It says Isaiah 14. Why they say that these heathens will go be in captivity and oppressed by the Israelites? See? What about Isaiah 61? Y'all go build our kingdom? See, we can go into certain prophecies. Hey, Daniel 2, to prove Esau, Edom. Like going to these things to prove that we ain't just saying Esau, the so-called white man. No, according to end time prophecy, he will be the last person to rule and have a global rulership, man. By the sword. Terrorizing the earth. See, when you go to prophecy, that's the point in how nobody can get around what you're saying. Let's get this real quick. This Jeremiah chapter 1 and Jeremiah 1, and I'm going to start at 17. It's the mindset. Jeremiah 1 and 17, it says, Thou therefore gird up thy loins. It says, Thou therefore gird up thy loins and arise and speak unto them all that I command thee. So this Jeremiah being told by the Lord, look, get up, man up, and go speak to your people. You see, so the same thing we doing today, whether it's on the internet, whether it's on a Q&A live show like the Bishop Nate, whether it's on the highways and hedges in person, we going to be speaking to our people. Now check out what the Lord going to tell us, man. If the Spirit of the Lord in you, and you wholeheartedly believe you one of those 144,000 who was sent on earth to push this one true gospel, and through the Hakodash that this is the truth, ain't no other truth. Nobody after, look, and see, that's why Yahweh Shai said, once you eat of this bread, you ain't go hunger again. Once you drink of this drink, you ain't go thirst again. You go be, why? Because we satisfied. No other doctrine, no other belief could top this. And not just talking about Christianity or like Islam, but I'm talking about within the Israelite community. No other breakdowns. It ain't hitting how the apostles have taught it, man. And we just got to be real. We just got to be real on all aspects of the gospel. So, seeing we got this, we should go out there and push with confidence. If anybody got questions, we ready to answer. We ready to answer, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Chakodash. And it's a spirit that not just Jeremiah, but our forefathers was in, man. They knew that it was true. But let's read this, Salakia. Getting a little excited. This is Jeremiah chapter 1 and 17 again. Thou therefore gird up thy loins and arise and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces. Look, Bishop Nate got a little nervous even when he seen Ron Dalton pop up. He like, oh shit, eyes got big. Started drinking his coffee. Nervous. He was a little dismayed. It says, be not dismayed at their faces unless I confound thee before them. And that's almost what happened. Borderline. It was right there. He was a little confounded, But the point is, because he ain't got the true gospel, man. He said, and the Lord gonna tell Jeremiah, verse 18, for behold, I have made thee this day a defenced city, and an iron pillar, a brazen wall against the whole land, and against the kings of Judah, these so-called other camp leaders, right, in their doctrine. It says, and against the princes thereof, and against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land, even these heathens too, man. Vocab, the Lord have given us the doctrine that nobody, we're going to end it off with that, which Yahweh Shai said, can't gainsay or resist. When we go into the scriptures proving, look, Esau got to be Edom. If not, who else is? Nobody have an answer. You see? Even going into the chariots, when we go into the scriptures, making a point how Yahweh Shai go beam up his elect, the clouds, the chariots, and Elijah getting beamed up, Enoch getting beamed up, and our point of view is the chariots. What else, are so-called UFOs? How else can a person break that down? What he gonna ride back on a literal white horse? Like it's saying Revelation 19, like Vocab tried to say before? See, they ain't got it. They don't know the answers. Matter of fact, let's get this real quick. This why they don't know the answers. Amos chapter 3 and verse 6, it says, shall the trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it? Surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. You see, so before the Lord do anything, guess what? He gonna let his prophets know. So if you believe you one of those men, you will go out there in confidence and push that doctrine, not fearing who gonna walk up, what scholar. Well, we the real scholars, man. Look, man, studying, like I say, study to show ourselves approved. If you really taking that time to study, read, even watching videos, man, you should be ready if somebody come up. But let's go back to this so we can end it. Jeremiah 1 and 18 again, it says, for behold, I have made thee this day a defense city. So we a defense city too, that nobody could come against. Remember, if you believe in what Yahweh Shai even said, even the gates of hell will not prevail. Nobody can come up against this true doctrine, man. It says, for behold, I have made thee this day a defense city, and an iron pillar, a brazen wall against the whole land, and against the kings of Judah, and against the princes thereof, and against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee. Come on, man, for I am with thee, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, to deliver thee. And that's it. That's it. We believe the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua through the Chakodash is upon us, and he gave us this true word that was sent down from the heavens, literally, man. As it was a spiritual thing, but it literally was sent down to us. That's how we know these things now. Let me get one more. Gainsay or resist. Luke 21 and 15. This Yahweh Shah. He said, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay or resist. It would have been easy to shut Ron Dalton down. And not just him. And the thing is, stop getting questioned. No, we ask the questions. Stop getting questioned. You know, if they have an answer, they walk up, answer it real quick now. So what about you? What can explain this to me? What this mean in Daniel 2? Right? If the legs of iron was Rome and that was just 2,000 years ago in the time period of our Lord and disciples, then where could we be in the feet? Where could we be? And then ask them to explain it. They wouldn't know. They ain't gonna say, well, that's NATO, EU, and America. Come on, man. See, anyway, but that's sparked my spirit to want to do this lesson, man. Just because I seen fear in Bishop Nate, you know, and not just him, but even when IUIC people walk up to their camps, you know, ask questions about the MOTB, they don't have the answers. They get shook up, and they just start talking shit and tell a brother keep the laws. That's it. No, man. Be prepared to answer and get a correct answer. But I'm going to end it right there. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bashim Awashah, Bashim Chakwadash, and with that, Shalom.